Today we'll host a smaller, double elimination tournament with some of the most prolific classic competitors. Starting off is the match between Duplicating Berserk and Slowed Infinity. The winner of this match will face off against either Expo or Centage, depending on who wins. Let round one begin. On our left, we have Duplicating Berserk, whose ability it is to gain damage and duplicate on hit. On our right is Slowed Infinity, who has the ability to obliterate any plate in a single hit, but doesn't move too fast. Currently, Slowed Infinity is pulling ahead in this matchup. Duplicating Berserk seems to have slowed to a halt, while Slowed Infinity is pulling further and further ahead. Slowed Infinity crushed their opponents in round one. With that match over, Slowed Infinity advances to the next round, while Duplicating Berserk is on their last life down in the lower bracket. Next up is the match between Expo and Centage. On the left is Expo, whose ability it is to multiply their damage by 2 on every hit. And on the right is Centage, whose ability lets them deal a percentage of the plate's max health. Both the opponents are up to a slow start, with Expo somewhat ahead of Centage. Expo seems to have stabilized a 2-plate lead over Centage. Centage seems to have started catching up to Expo. Coming up to the last few plates, and Expo only has a singular plate lead. Expo reached the end first. As Expo advances to the next round, Centage is cast down into the lower bracket. Next up is the lower bracket match between Duplicating Berserk and Centage. I don't know if these competitors need to be introduced again, but on the left is Duplicating Berserk, who lost their previous match with quite the margin. And on the right is Centage, who barely lost their match against Expo. The loser will, however, be fully knocked out of the tourney. And Duplicating Berserk has gotten quite the head start in this match. Centage is rapidly closing the gap between them and the competition. With that, the lead that Duplicating Berserk had is down to only 2 plates. Now 1 plate. Centage has caught up to Duplicating Berserk now, and seems to have this match in the bag, as Duplicating Berserk has not broken through many plates at all in the last while. Centage is on the home stretch, with nothing stopping them from knocking Duplicating Berserk out of the tourney. Centage wins! The first competitor to be knocked out will be Duplicating Berserk, who lost both of their matches with quite a margin. while Centage advances in the lower bracket, facing off against the loser in the coming match between Slowed Infinity and Expo. Both these competitors won their first match and are thus undefeated. Expo, who's on the left, barely managed to win their match against Centage, while Slowed Infinity had no trouble stomping their competition, possibly making Slowed Infinity the favorite in this matchup. But so far, the match is pretty even, with a slight lead for Slowed Infinity. Even coming into the end, they're on the same plate. This is a nail-biter. Expo reached the end first. With that nail-biter of a match, Expo advances to the grand final, where they will face either Centage or Slowed Infinity. Either way, it'll be a rematch, so we have a surprise in store for when the time comes. The next match will be the lower final between Slowed Infinity and Centage. Infinity is first through the 1 million plate with a lead of 2 plates. Infinity is also the first one through the 1 billion plate, holding the same lead. At the 1 trillion plate, Centage has managed to get the lead down a little, but is going to need a big comeback. Time's running out for Centage. Infinity crosses the line and wins the match, meaning that Slowed Infinity will proceed into the grand final, while Centage gets knocked out in 3rd place. Now, if you're this far into the video, you clearly want to see more of it. I suggest subscribing for the highest odds of doing that. At 1,000 subscribers, there will be an even larger tournament to know the true champion of them all. With that done, let's pick up where we left off and change the format for the final. Since this matchup was already played earlier in the tournament, it will instead be held in a 5-plate race. Without further ado, let's begin the grand final. The match that settles who reigns supreme in this tourney. Will it be Expo, or will it be Slowed Infinity? It looks dire for Expo, as they are 2 plates behind Slowed Infinity already. Slowed Infinity has broken the last plate, with nothing stopping them from winning the whole tourney. Our champion is Slowed Infinity, with Expo coming in second.